Hey everybody, it's Linda and Sterling.
Good morning.
Your favorite time of the day, Sunday. It's 10 a.m. my time and his time because we're both in California. So I'll post this after, you'll probably get it about 11 Pacific. Okay, well, so we have questions, but you had some housekeeping?
There are. So congratulations to you again. I mean, you got to the next level of subscribers. So we had running a contest, as you know, for every 1,000 new subscribers you get. So you hit over 41,000 last week. And so we have a new winner. And the winner of the new half-hour session with myself is Maya G. So if Maya G can just contact us, info@sterlingpsychicmedium.com. We'll set her up with her free session. So congratulations to Maya. And then one other quick shout out to Andrew, who's doing all of our timestamps on the videos. Andrew, reach out to our offices as well, info@sterlingpsychicmedium.com. And we have a special gift for you. So 2 shout outs there and a little bit of housekeeping.
There you go. There you go. And benefit to your beautiful wife, Linda, who did your nice little Christmas decoration in the background now.
Exactly. She's going crazy across the house. So it could get crazier next week. You never know. So.
Well, they say because of this COVID and people being homebound, I noticed people are really putting up Christmas lights and stuff this year. People are just concentrating on at least their decorations,
They are. Before the turkey was, even cooked, there was Christmas trees up. So,
Okay, from the other side, does Wayne Dyer have a message for us?
He does. And I spoke with him earlier this week. Good guy. The reason I wanted him to come through was that he was all about health and healing. So I kind of wanted to see where he was at on the other side. Now, a couple of interesting things came through from him. One is that one of the big assignments he has right now on the other side is helping a lot of COVID-19 victims cross. So he did a lot of great things in life, and he's got just loads of people of the pandemic victims that are crossing that he's actually helping. So that's a wonderful thing. The other thing he brought up was he was always about, healing energy, healing the earth, healing people, that kind of thing. And he brought up the topic of fire and water to me, very distinctly fire and water. And when I asked what that was all about, he said it goes across mankind and the earth. So, for example, if you look at water, that's kind of healing energy. If you think in terms of water with the spirit, fire is all about rejuvenation. And then the earth, he was saying the same thing. You're seeing a lot of water events and fire events that are kind of purging and creating kind of a new beginning for the earth. So anyway, it was all about healing energy, him helping COVID-19 victims, and all about what he sees kind of going forward, all about fire and water, the implications for mankind and the earth.
That was great. That's excellent. All right. So the second question, will Biden install an AG that actually investigates and holds 45 accountable for his corrupt cronies?
He will. And I'll say here again that I do feel strongly it's going to be a woman AG, but I'll also say that what I think is going to happen here, and I believe this to be true, Biden is going to do a lot of this behind the scenes. So he won't try to make this a circus because he's trying to heal the nation. So the answer is yes, that the AG will go after, Trump and a lot of his colleagues and family, but you may not see a lot of it in the public press because they're going to try to do it somewhat behind the scenes so it doesn't create a lot of turmoil. So.
Okay. Awesome, my friend. Well, how many days? 51 days? I can't wait.
Right. It's like Christmas all over again.
Yeah. Will Republican governors who took millions from COVID relief to pay for debts, tourism ads, and other uses have to pay the money back?
No, they won't have to pay the money back. But what's interesting is it will be accounted for. So what I see the Biden administration doing is, taking a calculation as to how much money went to these states and these groups. And then that ends up getting reduced from what the normal funds they would get here now going forward. So it'll be accounted for. So you got the money, if you used it for an advertising campaign, you shouldn't have used it for, that's okay, but that was your state's money. So
that lady in North Dakota did that, or South Dakota, I don't know which one, but she took millions from COVID for an advertisement.
Exactly.
Will Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham leave politics in disgrace within the next year or so?
Yes, absolutely. And you're really just starting to witness the beginning of the end. So there's a lot of what's going to be coming out here in terms of corruption in the voting, and we'll call it shenanigans being done with how they handle the vote counting. So yeah, it's all going to come to an end within 2021. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Do you see a connection between paranormal occurrences and quantum physics?
I like the levels of these questions. It always
Is that we got such great people, I'll tell you.
And those are like two separate topics. So just to be really simple, in terms of making it so it's very instructive here, the quantum physics is all about how atoms and particles interact at the atomic level.
Mm-hmm.
And then paranormal has a lot to do with things around time and space. It actually has more to do with things around Einstein's theory of relativity, which there was like special relativity, which was the absence of gravity, and then environments that had gravity. So paranormal activity has a lot more to do with phenomenon around space and time and portals. And
Right.
Quantum physics is much more conventional about how things interact at the atomic level. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
Okay.
Don't get my son in the conversation though.
Okay.
Okay. Do you see any justices leaving the Supreme Court in 2021?
I do. Still Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. Yeah.
You see her going?
I do.
What do you think about that Alioto or Thomas?
I don't pick up anything on that right now.
Okay.
No. There might be some health issues around those two, but I'm not sure that drives them to have to leave the court. But,
okay. Previously, you mentioned that people would be living underground / underwater. Do you see any other big changes happening 50 years from now?
People like this 50-year time frame. It's come up a lot. Yeah. I do. So there's going to be a lot more green technology across homes and cars in our lives. Absolutely. That means, solar driven technology for everything that we get engaged with. But I also see a lot more biometric technology. So you won't be carrying necessarily credit cards around with you. So you go through airports, there'll be biometric screens of your eyes. Be a lot of things like you saw in the Matrix films. So everything will be biometric. And you'll also see a lot more advances in what I'll call prosthetic design. So there'll be a collision between biology, medicine, and biomechanics, so that if you lose a limb or some other part of your body, it will be replaced. So
my dad was a paraplegic due to an accident. Do you see anything coming up with spinal cord?
I do. And that may be as much as 50 years out, but that's going to also springboard off of all that gene splicing technology.
Okay, thank you.
So it's almost like, that it comes up on every show. We talk about gene splicing technology, but it's almost like the keys to the kingdom. It's like almost like once you figure out the mechanics of gene splicing, now you can use it to affect any area of healing you need in the body.
I love it. Thank you. Edgar Casey predicted that all coastline states and most of Europe will be flooded as a result of a sudden natural or nuclear underwater catastrophe. Do you see something like this happening in the near future?
Yeah, so a couple of levels to that answer. One is I still see some sort of a nuclear accident happening in North Korea before the end of this year, like by the end of this year. So that nuclear accident is going to occur. That will cause some sort of, I'll call minor tsunami, if tsunamis can be minor, but there'll be a water event based on that. Also more earthquakes coming out into next year and the year after. So that's going to cause some water events because there'll be earth shifting offshore that will cause water events. So I think the answer is yes. I make a continuation, but I'm not sure Edgar Casey, if he was saying the entire planet will be consumed by water or something. There'll be major water events, kind of almost what we saw in Japan when that tsunami hit. Yeah.
That was something, and it wasn't even like real high, but it was so powerful. It came and kept going.
Came in for miles.
Trucks out of the way,
after the earthquake. Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie, The Hereafter, with Matt Damon?
I remember it. Yeah, I remember seeing
That
it.
was a good movie, but there was a tsunami that had happened. They did a good job with that.
Had a lot of good visual effects in that movie.
It sure did. Are guilty politicians paying 45 for pardons?
No, but what is happening is almost the reverse. What 45 is doing is he's going to be handing out pardons here, right and left.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, because he wants favorable treatment regarding things that are coming up for him.
Okay.
So, for example, if I pardon these particular people, they're going to handle me well when the Russia investigations come up, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is, him pardoning people like Flynn, then Flynn can't claim the fifth now when they pull him in to testify against.
Right.
Trump.
Right.
Do you think he'll actually try to pardon himself?
Oh, I think he's thinking about it right now.
I think
Sure.
he's thinking about it too,
And
but it's going to be a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Do you see any medical advancements in memory recovery, short term and long term? That's a good one.
I do. Over the next couple of decades, obviously you start to see, even within 10 years here, you're going to start to see advancements in the combination of medical sciences, biology, chemistry, and technology. So, pardon me, it's almost the way that you can recover data from a hard drive. You'll be able to reactivate brain cells in your mind to recover memory. So it'll be like a pill you take, and then there'll be a chemical reaction in the brain along with some technology there. So yeah, it's all coming. Absolutely.
Wow.
And
I really struggled with short-term memory loss post chemo. But as the years go on, I'm getting a little better, but it was pretty significant. It was very
yeah. I point to a lot of the things that reminds me of the Matrix films, because a lot of these things were shown in the Matrix. But remember, a lot of filmmakers are very creative people, and so they channel that information coming from the future. So it's no accident that these things are in films. So.
Right, exactly. I never watched The Matrix. I'm going to watch it because a lot of people talk about it.
Many films.
I love Keanu Reeves. I mean, he's one of my favorites. I watched all those other movies he's done.
I think, if I remember, there are 4 films in the series, maybe more than that now, but there's several in the series.
Okay, I'll have to watch it. I never watched Star Wars or any of that either. I'm not one of those people. Will vaccination be mandatory in the near future for people to be able to travel internationally? Good question.
Yeah, there will be. Inside of a year, looks like there will be countries that will require vaccinations of some kind, much the same way some countries now before entry are demanding testing. So yeah, there will be some countries that will say you need to show proof of a vaccine before you come in. It will happen.
Any idea how long ago and who placed the newly discovered monolith in the Utah desert, and does it have a purpose?
And that question's come up actually several times from people this week, by the way. I think even you and I traded some information on that. For me, that's man-made, absolutely man-made. It's not of alien origin. Joking, I had some colleagues in the industry. I think it may be left over from a film shoot at one point, or maybe somebody that's an artist that left it there. But I had some colleagues reach out to me from the major studios and said, if it was alien, they would have done the spot welds better. As you can see the spot welds on the monolith, so it's kind of funny.
People were writing me, ask Sterling. I said, I asked him. He said it's man-made.
Yeah.
So, but people were really going crazy about that.
Yeah, I think there's some information out there, by the way. My Linda was saying that I think there was a news report that on Google Earth, they actually were able to spot it 5 years ago. So it's been out there for a while. I think it goes back. I think it got installed 5 years ago, but you can check the information on Google. I don't know.
Right. What do you see happening to reality winner in the Biden administration? Will she be pardoned or given a shorter sentence?
Yeah, that was where confidential top secret information got copied and then distributed. That was the accusation. Yeah. She'll be out of prison within a year. So I feel like it's going to be time served. So it'll be like a combination of sentence reduced in half and then out in a year. So she'll be out.
Good.
Yeah. By the way, great name, isn't it?
Reality winner. She got COVID in prison. They did nothing for her. Thank God she survived.
Yeah.
When you're attracted to someone romantically, does that mean you knew them in a previous life?
Not always. So it can be the case, but you can have soulmates or people you're attracted to that weren't necessarily in a prior life, but they could be in your extended soul family. So yeah, I mean, there's a connection there. There's a spirit connection, but doesn't necessarily mean you're in a prior life. You know?
Okay. When you see spirit, do they look like they did in their prime or at their moment of death? And how do they dress? Okay.
So that's an easy one because you see people all the time that have crossed over. I know as you do too in your work. Most people show themselves in almost like their best light. So for
Exactly.
example, if they passed away and they lost, they lost 60 pounds before they left and they were frail, they definitely show themselves as being their best self. So if
Right.
they thought they were good at 45 or 50, they look like that. I encourage a lot of people to look at the Robin Williams film, What Dreams May Come. It's kind of interesting, a little heavy, but you'll see in there how some people show themselves as they cross over. It's just an interesting film to look at, but people.
Sometimes when I see like mothers, grandmothers, they will actually switch. You'll see them when they were young, and then they show me like this particular muumuu they always wore or an apron of some sort.
Right.
And when I start to describe it, most of the time people are going, "Oh my God, that's exactly what she used to wear." But she's saying it to present who she used to be when they knew her. But they usually are younger, so.
Yeah, exactly. I find a lot of people that crossed over, they make those references because the person you're talking to. I always tell people like the reference isn't for me. They're providing here because they're trying to connect with you and let you know what they're about and who they are. So
Right, right. Will China start mining for minerals on the dark side of the moon, and will it hurt Earth in any way?
they'll absolutely try to mine on the moon, as will the U.S. But it's not going to be a huge effort. Most of the effort overall for all these countries will be towards Mars. Really kind of moving travel to Mars and installations on Mars. So mining on the moon is going to be, there'll be some activity, but it's not going to be that major.
Okay. Can you tell us why one of the scientists involved in the Iran nuclear deal was assassinated?
Yeah, and this came up this week. It's absolutely Israel is behind it. By the way, these shows are for entertainment purposes only, right, Linda? So
Exactly.
but definitely there's a very strong Israeli connection to that, and I do feel that it was endorsed by other world leaders. Also, I'll say go nameless at this point, but you can figure it out.
Right.
Because it was a threat to that part of the world in terms of a nuclear arsenal, nuclear bombs. And so it's an effort to stop that.
Okay. Oh, but they're mad. They're mad. Okay. How much longer do you see Netanyahu being in leadership in Israel?
So because of the number of things going on, especially the thing we just talked about, he won't be in, I think he's out in 2021 anyway. He serves, consecutive 4-year terms, but he'll definitely be out in 2021 by the end of his term because of a number of events, including the one we just talked about in Iran.
Okay. Why did 45 pull out of the Open Skies Treaty and destroy surveillance aircraft?
So that's going to be a little bit of a short-term deal. When Biden gets back in office, that'll all be restored. But that Safe Skies Treaty was all about allowing countries, I think there's 30 countries in that, allow them to fly over using unarmed aircraft to observe other nations. But 45 pulled out because it was as a favor to Russia and Saudi Arabia for some reason.
I felt it.
There's something here that like you didn't want the U.S. to be allowed to fly over those regions. Yeah. But it'll all be restored when Biden's in.
And apparently those planes take air samples to see if there's been any recent nuclear event.
Right.
But this was definitely for Putin. But I got to tell you something I picked up, and I said it on my last video. I picked up that they're saying they're destroying those planes, but they're not.
Correct. I agree with you completely there. And you're right. I think that question was, it said, in destroying the planes. They're not destroying the planes.
I think they're letting everybody think they are. They might even take some pieces off. But as you watch, as soon as Biden gets in office, they're going to tell him, sir, we can restructure this and get this going again.
Yeah, and to be clear, to go one level more of detail, I think that they've targeted them for destruction. So like, they've written up the order, but they haven't started yet, and
Right.
it won't happen. It's not going to
Well,
happen.
it's like when he demanded that attorney fire Comey.
Right.
And he said, yeah, okay. He didn't fire him.
Right.
Will the Shinnecock Nation be successful in getting the state of New York to drop their lawsuit against them and their electronic billboard in the Hampton?
Yeah, those are for the casinos. What I get on that is that's going to come to a compromise, and the compromise is going to have two levels to it. It'll be a reduction in the number of signs. I'm not sure how many they put up, and a reduction in the hours of operation. So those are very large, high signs that sit off the highway, but it'll be a compromise, reduction in the number of signs and reduction in hours of operation.
Can I ask you what the signs are? Are they adverts for the casino?
Just like when you go to Las Vegas and you see the big billboards for, Caesars and MGM Mirage, all that. Yeah, they're very large LED signs. Yeah.
Okay. Do the Palladians have anything they would like to share with us?
They do. The first is that they're already here. So they're making, they're one of several species. They're already here. The other thing is that they're telling me they're going to be one of the first species that will actually show themselves to more people in the population. One of the reasons for that is that they're less, let's say, less scary looking. They are tall, they have hair, but so maybe a little more human-like, and so a little bit less severe in terms of, the first introduction to alien species. So, and they're here to care for the earth, to care for people, and they're going to help lead kind of the transition of people meeting alien species. So that's kind of what they want to know, that they're here and they're going to be seen very soon. But I think it's inside of 5-10 years here before it all starts happening. Yeah.
I have a client that I read who lives in New York, and she was early in the morning, like 5-6 a.m. It was light, so it must have been the summer. And I think she went out to walk her dog or something, and she saw 3 men, could have been 6'5" to 7 foot. They were wearing black jackets and a hat, but they were white as a ghost. And she said they walked in sync. It was the weirdest thing. And she said she was passing them and she sort of looked up, and one did glance at her, just barely glanced at her, but she didn't pick up anything angry or mean. And she just thought, whoa, are these like angelic forms? Now, when you just said that, I'm wondering if they're Palladians.
No, that sounds very much like a description of the Palladians. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think there's a tie to Norway, or they're Norwegian, Nordic, something of that nature, where they originally came out of, but they'll sound like Palladians you just described. Yeah.
And she said the way they walked, even totally in sync, and they weren't talking, they were just going ahead, straight ahead. Right. And the one glanced at her and she didn't get a bad feeling at all. Not like, oh, these people are terrible. She actually felt warm from them.
Yeah, they're a very loving, benevolent species. Absolutely.
I'd have been scared to death.
Yep.
Is there any significance to 12/21/20?
Also a very common topic because the Mayan calendar predicted, I think, doomsday. Yeah, so let me be clear. What I get from my guides, it's not a doomsday event. First thing I'm going to tell you. Second thing is it's a start of a rebirth for the earth and the universe, and a lot of things going on. So we're starting to see that now in politics, and we're discussing aliens here a second ago. So it's a rebirth of the nation, an awakening of a lot of good things happening, but it's a rebirth, not a doomsday. So there is significance.
Yeah. Pompeo sold $8 billion of arms to the Saudis. Where did the money go?
Money went back to government programs that were like necessary. They were off the books. So they were things like, paying for more, like paying for steel for a wall for the border, but then it went through a whole bunch of hands and went in the back door of the White House. Yeah, so it was a lot of off balance sheet transactions, so to speak, that happened. Yeah.
They think that they've covered this stuff up. They really do.
I know.
They're working hard to cover stuff up. But
They are.
I see people squealing like pigs after this is all done, saying, let me show you where this is. Let me show you what they did. I see people that are quiet behind the scenes coming out, and we will find out how they pocketed the money in their own pockets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
Yeah,
I feel a lot of this information, went out on they call thumb drives, USB thumb drives from people's laptops. So
Yes, yes. Why are alien species residing on Earth?
So, this comes up a lot. They've been here millions of years. Earth is a tremendous laboratory in the universe. So it's one of the best laboratories. They've done a lot of studies here for years, including, studies on the human race. So they're here as a laboratory is really what it's all about. Yeah.
You do get some that treat us like we're specimens, and then there's some that
Yeah.
are very kind. Yeah. Well, I know they don't want us to destroy ourselves. So
No.
do animals such as dogs, cats, horses, etc., have individual souls as humans do, or are they part of the collective soul?
Absolutely individual soul energy. They kind of almost come out of the angelic realm. I've talked about this before, but they have individual souls. And that's why even though even reincarnate, and you'll know it's your exact same dog you had as a child, but now it's another dog. Or sometimes I've seen dogs and horses cross. Kind of interesting. You had a dog as a child, and now the horse you look in the horse's eyes and you see your dog. So yeah, individual soul.
Is the Dalai Lama who was kidnapped by the Chinese people still alive?
The answer is yes across the board. And I think that there's one other level of distinction that has to go in there, because the current Dalai Lama, who's like the 14th Tibetan leader, right, spiritual leader. So that's the one that Richard Gere's, has hung out with, that kind of a thing.
Right.
I think that question they're asking is not about the 14th Dalai Lama. They're asking about the kidnap that occurred like several decades, like 25 years ago. It was a child. But I get yes.
It was a child?
If it's whoever asked this question, they're not asking about the 14th.
Okay.
They're asking about the child, but I still get that child is still alive.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Now, by the way, that child was designated by the current Dalai Lama, I think, as the up and coming Dalai Lama, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And that's why he got kidnapped.
Okay. What are octopuses? Oh, are octopuses an alien species? Or wasn't there a movie, Octopussy?
That was James Bond. That was a James Bond film. Yeah. Surprisingly, octopus are in fact alien species. Wow. And they've been here several 100 million years.
Wow.
Like 300-400 million years. So they were one of the first species that were dropped onto the planet as a study, and the ocean life and all that. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something. And they used to be huge, like the dinosaurs too.
Absolutely. And there still are giant squid. They still find them, which are part of it. Yeah.
What is the best way to know if one is fulfilling one's own soul purpose assigned in this lifetime?
So part of that occurs through a number of different mechanisms. One is, you have to have an ongoing discussion with your guides. I encourage everybody to kind of speak with your guides and your guardian angels, so they help guide you as to what you should be doing. Right. The second thing is, if you don't do that, you'll get some sort of what I call a resonance. So let's say you're doing something you're supposed to, you get a cold chill, or you're led to do it. So the universe will push you along that way. So the simple answer to that question is, you get validation from either the universe, the guides or angels telling you directly, right, or some sort of other interaction, cold chills. Let's say, yep, I'm doing the right thing. And I just got a cold chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some people are definitely despondent because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And I tell them, you just have to be quiet and allow well-being to
Exactly.
work through you, because they're
Yeah.
so busy thinking, well, am I supposed to stand here? Am I supposed to do this?
Right.
I didn't realize how powerful this was going to become until I got breast cancer and basically said, I'm done. You tell me. And then boom.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I was going to mention one other quick thing here. I find most everybody's on 7 or 10-year cycles. And so, but I find that as people shift over cycles,
Right.
very common people will say, who am I? What am I? What's my purpose? As they're going through that cycle change.
There you
And
go.
then get into the new cycle, then they figure it out. So,
Yeah. Right. Just get out of your own way.
Right.
Do you see anything coming up next week?
I do. I do a increased number of pardons from 45. I feel he's going to try some other pardons for the family. I do also think that we're going to see a ratcheting up of what's going on in the Middle East as a result of the scientists being assassinated. There's going to be a ratcheting up of dialogue and threatening dialogue amongst several nations. But I don't think it's going to lead to a conflict, but it's going to get ratcheted up. And I also see, believe it or not, everybody, Biden, pushing for a stimulus package. So obviously he's not in power yet, but I see him pushing behind the scenes, Nancy Pelosi and his colleagues in the GOP to say, let's get something out before the end of the year. So I think we'll start seeing that come up in the discussion as well. Yeah.
Do you think there'll be a stimulus package before Biden takes office?
I'm certainly extremely hopeful, and I do believe it's good. We're going to see it before the end of the year. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think that's going to be with Biden's help. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any information that your guys wants to share?
Yeah. Simply put, keep pushing forward with the truth as you know it. So, the truth, surround yourself in love and a lot of light, but keep pushing forward on truth in everything you do and everybody you interact with. And that means like divine truth, right? So, what the universe is all about, making the universe a better place. So, yeah, push forward with truth.
Yes. And I'm going to ask just a last question. So
Okay.
Trump is saying that now everything is going to Supreme Court, or something that got dismissed is going. Does the Supreme Court even pick it up on this voting fraud, or they say, nah?
Oh, the continuation of the challenges to
Yeah.
Supreme Court, the continuation. Yeah, I mean, that's still going to continue, yeah, through the end of the year. That will,
Okay.
but it's not going to go anywhere. I think, for me, the metaphor for my guides is like a ping pong ball bouncing off a ship.
Okay.
It doesn't go anywhere. And I think we just saw the Pennsylvania, right? Wasn't it? Yeah.
The Supreme Court in Pennsylvania said no, not even one person that he put in there.
Right. They just dismissed that this week, their Supreme Court. So yeah, it's going to continue.
But they said, that's okay, we're going to the Supreme Court. The scope.
Right.
Are they going to take it up, or are they going to say, never mind?
They're going to dismiss it.
Yeah. They don't want to touch that.
Well, I mean, it gets to a point of ridiculousness, right?
Right.
It gets to the point where, yeah, I mean, even like when the emperor had no clothes, right? No, everybody's afraid to say it, but now when the emperor has no clothes, everybody's got to say it.
I mean, they'd say Gore, Bush, but that was only about one state and about 500-600 votes.
Right.
This is millions of difference.
Yeah. So. And even some of the recounts have put Bush further ahead. I'm sorry, Biden further ahead.
I know, the one in
Wisconsin. That's funny. So even the challenges aren't helping.
No. No.
So.
But I wonder, because some people are saying, and I tend to believe this, basically Trump is just creating chaos so he can start getting money that he's backing him for himself.
Yeah, that's still an ongoing effort. And I think those are falling prey to that, right? I'm not sure who would ever be sending him money right now, but go figure, right? So
one guy sent him over $2 million. He wants his money back because there was a case that should have never been brought up, but he acted like it was a case they could win. And then he's realizing, wait a second, this was a setup. There's no way you could have won this. Give me my money back. Of course, they're ignoring him.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think we already know that a lot of the money is going to pay legal fees for 45 News.
Well, he's talking about having a rally when Joe Biden goes in office, when he's the inauguration, which I think will really be low key, way lower key than we've ever seen due to COVID. And I see him wanting to do a rally, and he's going to want to do rallies. But I feel like financially, he's no longer president, so he can't take Air Force One to use as his background. He won't have the police. He owes, Texas is suing him now for the money he owes them. He owes too many people money. So I feel financially, he's not going to be able to do everything he thought he could do.
No, he won't. Yeah, I mean, the reality is going to hit him like a cold
Hit him in the ass.
Yeah, they see he took Marine One to go play golf, I think on Sunday, or was it yesterday? He took Marine One to go play golf. I think it's in the news. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just used him and his family both. It's terrible. Yep. All right, my friend. I'll see you next Sunday.
All right.
Bye, you guys.
Good.
Lovely. Come back next Sunday.